Hey everyone, so today we're checking out the best champions for solo queue for the last time in Season 8. I think the meta shifted a little bit actually, so it's time to have a look. By the way, I heard you last time about not including as many builds as I normally would. I do read the comments actually on most of my videos, so I have partnered up with u.gg, which is probably the best site for what kind of build and stuff to take on a champion. This time I'm going to include the setup for every champion in the video to get you started, and we're looking at the best, the runner-up, the underrated pick, and the two best below plat for each role. I'll link it down below as well, so you can check out a champion that's not in this video if you want to see for that. You search it up, you see the best runes, items, skill orders, whatever, and you can go into more detail under more stats if you want to and stuff like matchups and counters. So AD carry has moved around a bunch actually. Kai'Sa is still okay, but a little bit worse after the nerfs. But at the very top, we still have Lucian. He can win lane really hard. He spikes at 2 items, which is great for mid game. He can kite, he can burst people, do sustained damage as well. So he does a bit of everything. With the strong support, it's really hard to actually lose your lane phase properly, but in this meta it is a lot about like win lane, move around, get more from your gold I guess, and like actually snowball, which Lucian is great at. Again, we're going to go back to counter and stuff, so I'll talk about the champion then how to kind of beat them. So with Lucian, Ashe is actually a pretty good pick at the moment because she just slows him and he can't dive in as well at all. It's basically that idea though, so lock him down, don't let him be too mobile and abuse his low E cooldown, poke him from range or just really outscale. So a runner-up would be Ezreal this time, and after testing him a little bit after, they kind of reworked to his W. I'm convinced he's actually a lot better. Like you WQ in fights and it does way more damage now. He does have a bad win rate, but everybody is playing him at the moment, so it kind of explains why. Early game he still seems to be pretty weak, but he takes towers faster and now has better damage in team fights, so he's more useful. He still kites for days, he's still high damage, he's still very safe, and he's still poked. I don't know if you really need a counter pick for Ezreal, but you really want to smash him in the lane phase. You fight with minions, so they block his Q and it's a lot of his damage. You take kind of short fights I guess. The longer they are, the more Qs he gets, which is better for him. My underrated AD carry is going to be Ashe, and is actually way better than I thought after the buffs. She got buffs to her slow and also her E, but she seems really strong. It kind of makes sense. You've got high range, you're really good at kiting people, you have decent poke and damage, a great engage with your arrow obviously, and a solid early with Blade the Ruined King. I didn't really expect her to be that good honestly, but her range definitely helps, and in this meta with damage everywhere, an arrow, your engage means a lot more. So the two best below plat then. The first one, Sivir, is also very good at high reloads, but amazing lower down. You just push and push, you get tons of farm, more items, and it's so straightforward. You're pretty safe with your spell shield and your ultimate speed, plus you've got to just really wait for late game, and you right click, it's not very difficult, and you always have a fallback. The other one is Misfortune, who doesn't really play like an AD carry at all and takes away a lot of the harder parts, which is why she is so good. A massive lane bully, high damage, high burst, great teamfight ultimate, easy to play and hard to play against. So for the mid lane, it's pretty open right now in terms of picks and stuff. I'm not going to talk about Akali or Irelia because they're always banned, but they are extremely busted. So the best is probably going to be Leblanc actually. The mid lane that I'm most afraid of really if they get fed. If she gets out of control, you're going to get smashed for the next 20 minutes and you can't really do that much about it. She's very slippery, she's got high damage, high outplay potential, can snowball out of control, and she's just so good with the lead. The way you actually really want to beat her, well, one, if you can last a little bit longer into the game and get some defense, that is absolutely great. But when she uses her W forward, she's actually extremely vulnerable. Even in team fights, if she W forwards to poke, you can then engage onto her and she can't really do too much about it. Runner-up wise, we're going to look at Kassadin, and basically you get to level 16 and you should win the game. The ultimate damage and everything just mounts up to be way too much, but that obviously happens faster if you get ahead early. As an example, if you do get fed, you pick up a Medjai's because you're so strong, you then win over 80% of games once you purchase that in 8.21. And yes, you're already fed when you buy this, which kind of skews the win rate, but 80%, 80, that is stupid. If you're looking to counter Kassadin, you want to pick things that can bully him early game. So Swainer and Nivea are pretty good for that. They kind of punish his low mobility without his ultimate, or you pick an AD like a Natrox, a Talon, a Zed who can actually kill him. You just want to try and end the game before he's level 16. So my underrated pick is actually going to be Talon. For some reason, he has shot up, and I mean shot up to the top of the mid lane win rate this pad. I'm not sure if it's kind of like a counter or not, but he wins a lot of games versus Irelia at the moment and Akali and demolishes mages. Talon is the god of roaming. You try to win lane, you push, you buy mobies, and you roam around and kill absolutely everything, and that is why he can be so good. So best below plat then. The first one we're going to look at is Malz, who is also good at high ranks as well, especially lower though. He is safe, he pushes endlessly, and has some very good damage. The Leandry's buff that we had recently, it does actually help your damage quite a bit, but his ultimate is just such a new punisher. I don't know how I can say that in a nicer way, but if you make mistakes versus him, you don't understand the game as well or whatever like that, like he's going to ult you and you're probably going to die, and probably going to lose a lot for it. The other one below plat would be Ahri, and there's no surprise with this one. You can assassinate, you can wave clear, you can roam, win lane, win game. I mean, she can do pretty much everything. You don't have to position perfectly either because you have your ultimate. You don't have to roam as well because you have your ultimate. You can run through wards because you have your ultimate. You can make mistakes and not die because of your ultimate. I think you get the idea. Let's move into the jungle. So I'm pretty sure Talia and Graves are still stupidly strong at the moment, but for general solo queue, the best one will be Xin Zhao. One of the easiest junglers to play, a really good early game, can gank a ton, duel the enemy jungler, and bring the damage himself. Eventually, he is going to fall off in the game, but it's very hard to stop him if he gets a good lead early. Like, he has Trinity Hysterics at that point, that ultimate circle to protect him while he's pounding somebody. The easiest way to beat him is to outscale or outgank him. Now, the second isn't very easy to do, but you try basically not to duel him. If you can catch him mid-game and you make him blow his ultimate, that is perfect because then when you re-engage, he's actually very easy to kill. Runner-up wise, we're going to have Kha'Zix today, so the buffs made him even more deadly. A few patches ago, he scales better in my opinion, and he's not even terrible at one item either. One of the best scaling assassins we have now, especially for the jungle. If you can gank and you can get ahead early, which isn't too difficult actually, you'll bring so much damage later and you can definitely carry. The way you kind of try to counter him would be to burst him down early into the game, invade, any sort of crowd control is amazing, and don't split late game. The more you're alone, the more you're farming a side lane or the jungle or something like that, the more chance he has to find you and kill you. It's really not that easy for him to jump into 5 people though. That's the idea of grouping. So my underrated jungler is going to be Pantheon. I know a lot of people know about him, but not many people play him at the moment. He's actually decent versus Kha'Zix because he's insane early game. He's probably one of the best gankers actually because he's so easy and has such high damage combined with a bit of crowd control. That's why he's also the king of level 2 cheese. You grab red buff, you jump on somebody with your W, and you're probably going to get a kill. If you have any crowd control support bot lane as well, it's almost too easy to win that game. They start a fight, they like crowd control the enemy, you drop behind them, they can't go anywhere, and that alone can win a game. The first of my best below plat is actually going to be Nocturne. His ultimate does way more than anybody really realizes to help your team out, as well as to like actually use it to dive onto somebody. But you have a decent dueling, really good damage, and it's so easy to farm with Nocturne. The best part about your ultimate being a long range way to get into a fight is you don't really even have to path properly in the jungle. You have to be kind of in the area, but you don't have to be in the right place at the right time always. You don't even have to path to avoid wards when you gank. You just have to get kind of close and your ultimate in. The other one actually is going to be Rammus. He's an insane counter to a lot of the champions we've actually mentioned in this video, like Kha'Zix and Xin Zhao. He locks them down with his taunt. He does some damage, but he doesn't take much damage from those style of champion. At least for the first half of the game anyway. Good luck killing him. It's going to be really hard, which is especially bad when he's easy to play and he wants to gank and get in your face as much as he can with his Moby boost. So we're going to move into the support role now, and the best one by far is going to be Thresh. Absolutely insane champion at the moment and the most well-rounded too. You can never go wrong picking Thresh. The thing that stands out more for me is like how easy it is. Like if you fish for hooks right with your Q, if it hits, that's great, you go in. If it misses, well fine, you wait a few seconds and you try again. You do that all game basically, but apart from that, he's also just a very useful champion to have on your team. You honestly can't really counter Thresh properly either, but damage from range is going to be your best bet. So you dodge the hook and you poke him down. Like a Brand, a Nami, a Zillion, a Zyra, they're all pretty good at this, but you have to dodge the hook first. The runner-up is going to be Pyke. Probably not a surprise honestly, and probably the best early support we have. He has a lot of crowd control and does more damage than the AD carry. It's very, very hard to punish him as well and actually kill Pyke. Like he kites for days. He'll stealth and heal back if you focus him, but if you don't focus him, then one hook into E into ultimate is you dead. Crowd control is probably the best way to actually shut down a Pyke and counter him properly. Like Leona is really good for this. She has a kind of like 3 stuns-ish. Thresh is really good. Stuff that stops him from running away basically and gets him down. Fiddle is actually also decent versus him. He's going to be my underrated choice for support. The silence is really good and the fear as well, which is also great against a lot of champions bot lane. You have this insane ultimate to use mid game and like for kills bot lane as well. Basically you wait for that and then every time you have it you make plays. Like that's pretty much the entire game. Your fear is also a broken spell. It's so good. It's targeted, like you protect your AD, you kill their AD, it's gank setup, it's escape. It's just amazing. The first one that's best below plat is going to be Zyra. Could also be Brand actually as well, but Liandry's was buffed and it's an amazing item to rush on Zyra and Brand, which has made them a lot better. Her ultimate is definitely better like as a counter engage tool, to be honest. So they dive in, you ultimate, and then you turn it around afterwards. And a lot of the meta is actually dive or engage. So this is way more useful now in how we have the game. The other one is very different. Like Blitzcrank is kind of the stable dump on a bad player kind of champion, and at lower ranks that is going to be even better. They shouldn't be able to dodge as well. They don't position properly. They don't use their minions to like shield themselves, and they won't respect your roams either. And let's be honest, it's pretty easy as well. You just aim your Q and the rest kind of does it for you. The biggest shift was actually probably to top lane because we have Viktor come in this patch. We talked about it in my career video last patch, and he's now absolutely busted. It's actually insane. Irelia is probably the main thing that you do not want to ever pick Viktor into, but the rest he can bully with his Q max, get a ton of klepto procs, kite for days, and have so many shields. If you do leave him open, you don't ban him, and somebody picks this against you, he is still weak in the lane phase if you can get on top of him before he's built any defense. This is why Irelia, for example, is so good against Viktor because of her jumping, which helps to get on top of Viktor. But apart from that, it's very difficult actually. You want to burst him ideally, just don't let him kite with the move speed and the shields from his Q. Runner-up wise, we're going to look at Urgot. Still a machine in the current game, wins most of his lanes, still gets tanky, and feels like kind of split between like engage, frontline, and damage, I think. When Time Warp Tonic finally gets nerfed, he's probably not going to be as good, but he still has this monster execute and fear for teamfights, like a ranged Cho'Gath ultimate. The simplest way to counter Urgot is to pick something that can out-brawl him, which is not going to be easy at all. So the regular way is if you just don't get smashed in the lane phase, then you should scale much better. Urgot is an insane champion when he has like 2 items, so don't feed him, don't let him get the 2 items earlier, and it will be a lot easier. Underrated wise, we're going to look at Kled. Actually not bad versus Urgot either. Apparently he can kind of win the lane phase, but he stacks health, he does a lot of damage, has an amazing engage, and has his mount. The mounting system is something that once you master it, you will win a ton more games. He's got the best early game win rate out of all top laners, I think, and a lot of that lane phase pressure comes from using his mount. It's kind of crazy how much he can snowball just abusing the mount. Like, he's got damage anyway, but he just doesn't really die if you use it properly, and then afterwards you're going to be roaming with your ultimate to run everybody down. And obviously, apart from like a San ultimate, it's similar, but your whole team comes with you. The first one that's best below plat for a top laner is going to be Garen. He's simple, effective, he's got damage, and he's a tank. He's so well rounded, but he has a very easy to play team fight. His win rate is actually not that good early, so when everyone says he's easy to play in the lane phase, it's not really about that, but he's really good at 2+ items. And I think that's because you just have to run in. You soak damage naturally, you spin, you Q people, you can kill them with your ultimate, but you last forever, and it's such a big advantage for your team. The other one is going to be Jax, which is a little bit hard to play, more of a carry yourself kind of pick, but if you win your lane, then you instantly become a massive issue because you hit the point where nobody can 1v1 you anymore. That means that you can split push, you can dive in if you need to and group if you have to, but people will always struggle to know what to do in that situation, and you're in no rush either. Your late game is insane. So there you go. Those are the champions for each role today. Thank you for watching the video, and remember to check out u.gg yourself if you want to look up your own champions. Let me know what you think of doing the video like this, but for now, I will leave you with the robots.